Okay, so I have no one to read, like, would you rather back and forth with me, so I'm holding Thor. Would you rather have feet binding in China done or fight the Mongols? I would rather do feet binding in China because the Mongols were ruthless. Although feet binding is very painful, I most likely wouldn't die from it. If I were to fight the Mongols, I'd end up dead. Would you rather have traveled with Marco Polo or traveled with Ibn Battuta? I would have rather traveled with Marco Polo because he traveled the Silk Road, which would have interested me much more than fulfilling the pilgrimage to Mecca. I am much more interested in material items versus religion. Also, a fun fact about Marco Polo is that he most likely brought pasta to Italy from China. So, like, I would have been somewhat a part of that, which is cool. Would you rather be a peasant in China in the 1300s or be a peasant in France in the 1300s? I would rather be a peasant in France. This is because peasants in China were required to pay high taxes to the government. They were forced to pay their taxes years in advance and were paying high rents. They were commonly always in debt. Would you rather be a European knight or a Japanese samurai? I would rather be a Japanese samurai because they were more skillful and were taught what to do from a young age. They commonly, like, their children were born into it. And I think the fact that they use swords is also very impressive. Would you rather study at the House of Wisdom or study from a civil service exam in China? I would have rather study at the House of Wisdom because the civil service exam would have stressed me out way too much. This exam played a huge role in education, government, and society itself. It basically determined your fate and stuff like that, like, freaks me out, whereas I would have rather learned how to, like, be independent, which you did at the House of Wisdom. Would you rather have traveled the Indian Ocean trade route or Silk Road trade route? I would have rather traveled the Silk Road because I would get to ride a camel to each place, which I think is so cool, and also plagues and diseases traveled over the Indian Ocean much easier, like smallpox and stuff like that, because you were confined to a boat, whereas during the Silk Road, like, you're more in open space. Would you rather be a woman merchant religious minority in the Mongol Empire or be a woman merchant religious minority in Dar al-Islam? I would much rather be a woman of the Mongol Empire because they had a lot more freedom. They got the ability to fight in battles, ride horseback, tend their herds, and influence their men on important decisions. Also, the Mongols were a much stronger empire, which I would have rather been behind, even as a woman. Would you rather be a Jew in a Christian kingdom or a Jew in an Islamic state? I would rather be a Jew in an Islamic state. This is because they had formed many Jewish communities throughout the state, which meant I would be allowed to practice my religion without discrimination.